says that some of the precursor materials that are being used for fentanyl are now not coming necessarily from China, but from India. So
What the hell? Hold on, you're telling me fentanyl's starting to come from India?
In this video, Elrod learns that making drugs is profitable and India is treating America like a Schedule 1 server.
Yaps. It's in the name. My guys! You guys are the pharmaceutical hub of the world. Now you guys are pushing fentanyl? I mean, that actually kind of does make sense. You guys are like global drug runners. You guys have been playing way too much, oh my gosh, what is that game called? Schedule 1. You guys have been playing way too much. India is literally playing Schedule 1 right now.
Design here coming to you from a snowy, foggy morning in Colorado. Today we're going to talk about something that came out in the new 2025 ATA, that's American Threat Assessment. And basically it says that some of the precursor materials that are being used for fentanyl are now not coming necessarily from China, but from India. So quick backstory. Fentanyl, unlike cocaine, is a synthetic. It is manufactured rather than grown. And because of that, it takes about 4 to 6 man hours to make a single dose of cocaine, because you have to clear land, you have to grow the crop, you have to harvest the crop, you have to dry the crop, you have to then process the crop, and eventually...
I bet you this guy has done each one of those processes. You know, he's going through, he's living back experiences right now.
Actually ship it north. A lot of involvement.
Just kidding.
Because it's an agricultural product. Not so with fentanyl. With fentanyl, you get your precursor materials, you process those into something called a precursor material, fancy, and then you basically cook the stuff in a lab for a week, and then you have several thousand, probably several tens of thousands of doses that you ship north. It only takes a few man-seconds to make a dose of fentanyl. The problem is twofold here. The way the United States has chosen to go after fentanyl is, number one, to try to put pressure on the countries that are providing the precursor materials.
Makes sense, but you probably should go after the precursor materials as well.
The issue is that one of these countries is China, and the precursor materials are legal. You use them in any number of things, from making insulation to medicine, so you can't not produce them.
That's a problem.
And it's very easy for you to siphon off a very small amount to ship to the United States. So you're talking about things that are measured in liters here. In fact, all of the precursors that were used to make all of the drugs, all the fentanyl that was intercepted at the U.S. border could fit into 33 oil drums. It's not a lot of material. Once this stuff gets to the United States, it's repackaged and sent into Mexico, typically by just a pickup truck. And there it's distributed to the drug labs, which are just little facilities about the size of your average garage, typically in your average garage.
This literally sounds like Schedule 1 right now,
where they're processed into the final drug and then shipped north. And so what the U.S. does is it tries to convince the countries that are producing the precursors to not, and it tries to convince the countries that have the drug labs to have better security. And it's not that these are stupid plans, but they're not going after the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit is how you ship the stuff from China to the United States, and that's the post office. If we got a decent scanning system for small parcels, you'd probably be able to cut that link. But even that isn't going to do very much, because the precursors are legal and they can come from anywhere. And this is where India is getting on it.
I'd say that's going to be the issue. The product's legal. It doesn't matter if it goes through the post office and then it gets scanned through. There's no way you could say, hey, this is going to be made for fentanyl if it's in a whole bunch of other products or substances as well. That's why fentanyl is so scary. It's so scary.
One of the things that we see whenever we're fighting the drugs is we don't get good data until it's 2 years out of date. And so 2 years ago, India didn't make the radar at all. And the Biden administration and now the Trump administration are talking to the Chinese about trying to find out which Americans are doing this to crack down on the personnel. It's probably the better way to do it. And in the meantime, you squeeze the balloon, it just pops up somewhere else where it's legal. And then, of course, the border crossing from Mexico to the United States isn't really...
People, especially in medicine and the pharmaceutical world, are always gonna find the loophole, right? Are always going to be looking for a loophole. So the best thing to do is just continuously, whenever a new one comes up, understand that another one was probably going to come up in the future, but you get to nip that one in the butt right where it's at. So even though it may become a problem again with somebody else figuring out a legal loophole to get it into the country to create fentanyl here, or maybe, you know, create fentanyl there and ship it in here, whatever the loophole may be, they're going to figure it out. But it doesn't need to be the one that they're exploiting right now.
really something that we can lock down. And even if we could, 1 liter of finished fentanyl is enough to create somewhere between 50 and 100,000 doses based on the purity. So all you need is one dude in a backpack to get through to supply the entire country for a couple of days.
That's insane. One dude can supply the country for a couple days. And imagine if they send a few hundred dudes in, a few thousand dudes in, it's game over.
And at the end of the day, there's no reason those labs need to be in Mexico any more than the precursor materials need to come from China. The stuff is ubiquitous. It doesn't take much of a capital investment to set up operations, and you can do it in Kansas just as much as you can do it in Mexico. And for the precursors, you can do it in China, you can do it in India, you could do it in New Jersey. So the only real way to get fentanyl under control would be to address the consumption side of the equation, and that has always been a flaw in American drug policy.
He ain't wrong on that. But India, why are you playing freaking Schedule 1 with us? You guys are setting up your pharmaceutical shop, automating it, and you're just like, oh, look at those little bots over there over in America. We know they like to consume. They mindlessly consume. There ain't no other nation out in the world that consumes as mindlessly as they do. So, let's start pushing that drug money out there. Just like, they're just balling out of control on us. God bless. But it may be India today. Maybe we, nip that loophole in the butt, but then it'll be somewhere else, somewhere, in the future. All you could do is just freaking make somebody laugh, because the world is just a crazy place where people are trying to freaking smuggle fentanyl into your country and spread drugs out there. It's crazy. It's a crazy world out there. Freaking wars, conflicts. So spread some love, spread a laugh, because God, we all could use it from time to time. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.